Bowl training camp, but now looking toward the 2025 campaign, the biggest storyline heading into this season is, can the Chiefs accurately, profoundly, diligently protect Patrick Mahomes in order for the Chiefs to make Super Bowl rare history, becoming just the fourth team to go to the Super Bowl alongside those 1990 Buffalo Bills. The Chiefs have revamped their offensive line with Kingsley Suamataia, the former second-round pick from
Moment. It's on Sportsmanlike on ESPN Radio. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. And CC, the Kansas City Chiefs need to go to GNC and bulk up because they were bullied by the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl. 40-22 was the final score, and it certainly didn't feel that close. And they had history on the line, the three-peat. Obviously, they failed to do so, but they're trying to get back for a fourth Super Bowl in a row. And a lot of people are pointing to Patrick Mahomes as the key to that. And yes, Patrick Mahomes is hugely influential in the Chiefs' success, no doubt about that. But our Myron Metcalf thinks that Patrick Mahomes has regressed the past two seasons, and he needs to step it up again in order for the Chiefs to get there. Here's what he had to say.
Are we going to get honest about Patrick Mahomes and his slump? I mean, that's the question. I don't think there's anyone that can say he's been the best quarterback in football for the last 2 years. Is he the best quarterback in football overall? Fine, I'll give you that. But he hasn't looked like that Mahomes in back-to-back years. I mean, they're coming off an embarrassing loss in the Super Bowl. No one cares because it's like they've got 3 rings, but that may have been a moment where Kansas City is really trying to fight to get back into that winning column when it comes to Super Bowl. So I just think Mahomes, I don't want to say growth, but getting back to being the guy we know he can be, that feels like the biggest question for a Kansas City team that largely revolves around its defense and run game. And I never thought we'd see a team like that.
So Patrick Mahomes, do you feel like he's regressed, CC? I know if you're looking statistically, career lows in several categories last season. Obviously did not show up in the Super Bowl the way we're used to Patrick Mahomes showing up in the Super Bowl. But you could take two approaches here. You could say Mahomes' production that we had seen consistently in his career unsustainable for somebody to continuously put up numbers like that, to have playoff and Super Bowl success like that. Or you could say, yeah, this is a sign of a continued decline and we don't expect the Chiefs to get back there. Which road do you take here?
I would probably lean toward the former and not the latter. I mean, I think the last impression that we got is the one that's most prominently, in everybody's mind, which is they got their asses kicked in Super Bowl 59 by the Eagles.
It was bad.
They got embarrassed.
BTA.
BTA. We're not accustomed to seeing a Kansas City Chiefs team with Mahomes as the quarterback and Andy Reid as the head coach getting dominated in the fashion that they did.
Right.
But I do think we got to pump the brakes a little bit and consider what we're seeing from the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes has now evolved beyond just trying to do things to put up gaudy statistics. Mahomes is all about competing for championships. He's got 3 of them things. He's played in 5 Super Bowls. He's played in the last 3 straight Super Bowls. He's played in 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls. For him, it's all about Super Bowls.
Correct.
There are no style points with this thing. So I do think a lot of it is us getting caught up in Mahomes not being there with Lamar Jackson, with Joe Burrow, with Josh Allen when it comes to yards, touchdowns, completion percentage, etc. With Mahomes, I judge him based on winning, right? Can you be at your best when your best is required? Can you put your team in situations where you win football games regularly? Nobody has won more games over the last 2 years, including playoffs, than Patrick Mahomes. He's got 31 total wins out of a possible 39 games. He started 39 games. He's got 31 wins.
That's insane.
He's winning 80% of his games.
It's insane.
The quarterback has the most influence over the games, and he wins 80% of the games. I think we have to be careful in terms of how we're judging Patrick Mahomes because he's playing a different game than everybody else. He's about championships. He's not about chasing individual accolades. He's already been affirmed in that way 2 times over. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer if he retires today.
Correct.
He is trying to chase greatness. And when I say greatness, Tom Brady.
Correct.
That's who he's trying to walk down.
That's the only person in his line.
There are no other people in his peer view. Like, that's it. It's Tom Brady and nobody else. So when it comes to the Mahomes regression, I've said it before, I'm willing to entertain other quarterbacks potentially getting into the mix as the best quarterback in the NFL currently, but there is no question who the best player is in the league, and that's Patrick Mahomes.
So I was guilty of this, not this past year, but the year prior, because I was looking at the numbers and I was looking at a slight decline. I was paying attention to how it looks stylistically, and I was saying, it doesn't seem like Patrick Mahomes is as dominant as he was. Maybe this is something that's signaling a bit of a drop-off. Maybe this is signaling that the Chiefs aren't going to be able to consistently get back to and compete in the Super Bowl. Not necessarily because they aren't capable of it, but I just looked across the AFC, and there were the Bills, the Ravens. There were formidable opponents that I thought could potentially beat them and move forward. And you know what happened? They won a Super Bowl the year I said that, and then they went to another one the year after. We keep talking about a potential decline for Patrick Mahomes. He went 15-2 last year. They were in first place in their division still, and he went to the Super Bowl. So a decline, if statistically there's a bit of a regression, the results are still there. Maybe he's not hoisting the Lombardi, but he's getting there. Now, if they're trying to get back to another Super Bowl, CC, there's a couple things that we need to look at. Yes, they did fortify the offensive line, which is something that's in the plus category, but in the negative category is their wide receiver, Rashee Rice, who is expected to have his disciplinary hearing with the NFL September 30th in New York. Now, for those who don't remember, he's awaiting his punishment for his involvement in a multi-car crash in Dallas last year. Rice pled guilty to 2 felony charges related to the crash. He was sent to 5 years probation and 30 days in jail, and he's awaiting that punishment. He's now likely to be able to play the first 4 weeks of this season before any potential discipline is imposed for his role in there. And those games that he would be eligible to play in, the Chargers in Sao Paulo, Brazil, the Eagles, the Giants, and the Ravens. But obviously, this is something that is looming around the Chiefs that could have an impact on their season.
No doubt about it, and they've got to figure out what pass catchers are going to be available. Hollywood Brown has had to miss some time in training camp due to injury. Rashee Rice, we'll see what ends up happening with him and his overall availability as we get into the middle of the season after that appeal on September 30th. So I would like to see them add another pass catcher in there. I mean, if I'm being honest, I would love the reunion with Tyreek Hill. We'll see what the Miami Dolphins do, whether they want to pay out that $16 million roster bonus that Hill is due at the end of August. But if they end up shopping Tyreek Hill, I would love Tyreek Hill going back to the Kansas City Chiefs because it feels like they're in a position where they need each other. So I think the Chiefs need to continue to be in the posture of being additive with their skill position core. But the biggest issue that I saw with them last year was the offensive line.
Right.
And based on the reviews that we've gotten from Josh Simmons, what we've seen across from him in the preseason and in their first preseason game against, I believe it was Arizona, he looked pretty good. He did his thing. So I think if they can solve that riddle, we'll get a better Patrick Mahomes stylistically in comparison to what we've seen over the last couple of years. But Smalls, I want to make this point and I want to drive it home. When it comes to Patrick Mahomes, no quarterback controls the complexion of the game better than Patrick Mahomes. So forget about the stats. No quarterback controls the game better than Patrick Mahomes. And what I mean by controlling the game, being able to sustain drives, being able to execute in situational football. When the game's on the line, being able to come through. Patrick Mahomes led the league in game-winning drives last year. He had 8 game-winning drives across the regular season and in the playoffs. 6 fourth-quarter comebacks. That's the greatness that we're talking about. Right. You know, like, forget about the yards and the touchdowns. That's what matters to me. 8 game-winning drives, 6 fourth-quarter comebacks. They were rivaling the early 2000 Patriots when it comes to record in one-score games. You don't have those kind of wins without good quarterback play. And that's what Patrick Mahomes is doing, better than any other quarterback in the NFL. So let's be careful in terms of how we're judging him, how we're grading him. It's not about yards or touchdowns or completion percentage or QBR with Mahomes.
Right.
It's